Hi everyone, am I audible? In case I'm audible, can I just get a thumbs up? Hi Seema, thank you. Great, so we have 1 minute to start the live. We'll wait for a few more to join and then we will start with today's live. Thanks Monisha, thanks Rachna. I hope I'm getting your names right. Thank you Punit. Okay, so it's 4:30 and let's get started with today's session. I am Deepika Rathod, Chief Nutrition Officer, Head Nutritionist, Lifestyle Expert and Gut Vertical Head from Luke's team. And today I'm going to talk about this topic which is close to our heart actually because we have grown up having wheat, and if somebody comes to us and tells us that maybe you have gluten sensitivity or gluten intolerance and that's why you can't digest food or you can't digest your wheat product that you have been eating since ages, so we don't take it or basically we can't really digest the thing that we can't really digest gluten for that matter. So today I'm here to actually discuss. Great. So today I'm here to discuss about what exactly is gluten sensitivity. As I said, gluten or wheat actually is an integral part of our lives. We have been eating wheat since the time we have born. It started with porridges, then the roti, and then paratha and all. So if somebody tells me that if you are showing symptoms like gut related issues, then try and avoid gluten and observe if you're feeling better. So we don't really think that gluten could be an issue, but yes, due to poor lifestyle, bad gut health, poor eating habits, compromised gut, as I said, processed grains, use of non-organic products, or the excess use of fertilizer or pesticide that generally is used for in the grain fields and all, it actually makes our body more susceptible, and that's where our body is not able to break down the gluten properly and we start facing stomach related issues. So people who may have gluten sensitivity can show certain symptoms like stomach pain, etc., and these symptoms can aggravate even if they have as less as 1 teaspoon of gluten or wheat or gluten related products in their food. So it could be, as I said, wheat, rye, barley, or anything, any processed food, any packaged food that has gluten as its integral part. So what exactly is gluten sensitivity? Let's get in detail of that basically. So gluten sensitivity or intolerance actually is categorized into three parts. One is your gluten allergy, second is celiac disease, and third is non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Now, gluten allergy can be any other allergy that we have. We are allergic to the weather around us, or due to more pollution, we have cold and cough issues, which is kind of allergy, which gets better as soon as the allergens are removed. So similarly, you might be allergic to certain form of gluten or maybe a non-organic product which is irritating the stomach. There are high chances that your body is not able to take in gluten for a certain period of time till the time you have those allergies in the body. So you can wean yourself off from the gluten for few weeks or few months till the time you feel better, and then once you feel better, gradually you can add back gluten into your routine or into your meal options, and you'll notice that your stomach is able to digest the gluten properly. So gluten allergies could be managed and improved properly. Moving on to the celiac disease, which is kind of an autoimmune condition, and we have been discussing about leaky gut and autoimmune condition in our every session. Autoimmune condition means your immune system itself is attacking its own body organ to show certain symptoms or issues. So here in your body, there is an antigen antibody reaction happening, wherein your body starts producing antibodies against gluten itself, and that's why the gluten is not getting digested and absorbed properly in the body. We all know that our body produces digestive enzymes to break down certain food particles. So for example, gluten is broken down by transglutaminase enzyme. There are certain enzymes, for example, lactase is an enzyme which breaks down lactose in our body. So when a person has autoimmune condition like a celiac disease or a celiac sprue, that's when they also start facing an array of other symptoms as well. I will come to symptoms in the later part, but a person who is diagnosed with gluten intolerance can also be diagnosed with lactose intolerance as well. That's why, following a GFCF protocol, that means a gluten-free, casein-free protocol becomes very important in an autoimmune condition. This was about the celiac disease, that is an autoimmune condition. Moving on to the third one that I mentioned, that is non-celiac gluten sensitivity. The symptoms for all the three categories are almost similar. I'll come to symptoms later, as I told you. But here what happens is non-celiac gluten sensitivity is very difficult to diagnose. It can only get diagnosed when a person has tested for gluten allergy and tested for celiac disease, and both have come as negative. So the person doesn't have gluten allergy or the person doesn't have celiac disease. That's when it is termed as non-celiac gluten sensitivity. However, it's not so widely spread. Like, this disease is not widely spread, so people there are hardly any people who have non-celiac gluten sensitivity for that matter. So causes of any of the disease or gluten sensitivity for that matter could be your poor lifestyle, your poor eating habit, compromised gut health, lack of sleep, wherein your body is not sleeping and recovering well, and if the grain is compromised, if the grain is not produced properly, for example, if the gluten is not produced well, it's not organic, if it has more of fertilizers and pesticides, it irritates the stomach, that's when there are higher chances that you can observe gluten sensitivity. Now, symptoms when it comes to gluten sensitivity could be diarrhea, because your stomach is not able to digest the food or the gluten properly, and we don't just have gluten as it is, or we don't just have roti, we have the entire meal together. So we have your our dal, sabzi, roti, rice, salad, everything together. So if the body is not able to digest gluten, automatically the entire meal doesn't get digested properly. That's where the person starts facing diarrhea. There is semi-solid stool or watery stool. Sometimes there is excess of gas production, and that gas can also be released via motion. So the motions could be frothy as well. This was about diarrhea, and as I said, there is excess of gas production. So this gas production can lead to bloating, flatulence, burping. People might also notice that their stomach has increased in size, and they feel heavy because there's so much of gas getting produced in the body due to the inflammation and due to the issues that they are facing. Apart from this, there can be abdominal cramp, there can be pain in the abdomen or any part of the body. Because when I said your body is not able to digest the food properly, not just the gluten, but even the fats that you're taking along with the gluten. So if the fat is not getting digested properly, it is lost in your motion itself. If fat is not absorbed properly, that means the fat soluble vitamins like your vitamin A, D, E and K are not absorbed properly, and the deficiency starts setting in. If there is a deficiency of vitamin D, then there is the calcium absorption also gets hampered. If the calcium absorption gets hampered, automatically you'll notice that the bone issues also come in picture. So there can be aches and pain in the bone or joint basically. So all of these are kind of side effects or symptoms that you can observe if a person is facing gluten sensitivity. Apart from this, there can be nausea, vomiting, dizziness, low energy levels, because you're not digesting the food, the nutrients are not utilized. Automatically your energy level starts dropping. Because we are not able to digest the food properly, there can be a iron deficiency as well, which can lead to anemia. So that's where people who have gluten sensitivity, doctors put them on different medicine as well to make sure that the deficiencies are not seen and they don't face any kind of issues. This is about particularly adults. Children also face similar kind of symptoms, but then what happens is adults are like fully grown up, our height and weight is achieved, but when it happens to a kid or a child, their growth gets hampered. They are not able to attain a proper height, they are not able to get to their ideal body weight, the cognitive functions doesn't happen properly, so all of this also gets affected. Now this was about the symptoms that a person can face when they have gluten sensitivity. How to test or how to get diagnosed whether you have gluten sensitivity or not, or which kind of gluten sensitivity do you have, whether it is just an allergy or like a celiac sprue or a celiac disease. So to know on what exactly you're facing, it's very important to meet a gastroenterologist and get a test prescribed from them itself. The very easy test that you can do at home and that we generally recommend our clients doing is elimination test, elimination diet that you might have heard about. So avoid anything that has gluten in it for at least 2 weeks and observe on how your body is responding. If your body is feeling better, it doesn't show any symptoms of diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, low energy levels, dizziness, etc., that means gluten was the culprit, and since you have stopped it, you have automatically started feeling a little better. We have seen many clients who just go off the gluten and then they come back to us and tell us that just by stopping gluten I feel so much lighter, my gas production is under control, my bloating is under control. So this could be the easiest way to find out whether you are really allergic to gluten or not. If you see that your stomach is getting better with the elimination diet itself, then you can definitely go ahead, meet your gastroenterologist and get some tests done to find out what exactly it is, whether it is an allergy or like a celiac disease for that matter. So you can do skin prick test. They also do IgE test. As I mentioned, transglutaminase is a enzyme that breaks down your gluten. So you can do tissue transglutaminase antibodies IgA test as well. So when your body starts producing antibodies against transglutaminase, that means your body will not be able to break down the gluten properly, and this will give you a fair idea about autoimmune condition. Apart from that, there is gliadin. Gliadin also is a part of gluten itself, and if your body has gliadin antibody IgA, then gliadin IgA antibody, then you definitely have to again go ahead and eliminate gluten completely out of your routine. This gives you again a picture that your body is not able to digest gluten properly, and you may have celiac disease for that matter. Apart from this, you might have heard about HLA-B27 test, which is a gene test actually done to find out whether you have autoimmune condition or not. Similarly, here as well we can do a human leukocyte antigen test, HLA-DQ2 and HLA-DQ8, which gives you a fair idea whether you have gluten sensitivity, celiac sprue or not for that matter. So try and talk to your gastroenterologist and get any of these tests prescribed from them to find out on which category you fall in exactly. Now we talked about gluten sensitivity. We talked about the three categories of gluten sensitivity. Then we checked out the symptoms as well. So in case you have gluten sensitivity, what symptoms you face and how to get diagnosed with gluten sensitivity or celiac sprue or gluten allergy for that matter. Now let's move ahead with the tips part. So if you are sensitive to gluten, what is the first thing that you will do? It's very important to avoid any and every form of gluten from your routine, because as I said, if a person has gluten sensitivity or even celiac disease for that matter, even 1 teaspoon of gluten will irritate the stomach lining and increase the inflammation. So you have to not just avoid wheat, but read the package labels properly and avoid anything that has gluten as its integral part. Some of the medicine also has hydrolyzed wheat starch basically in them. So you have to also read the label of your medicines properly. If it has hydrolyzed wheat starch, that means that can also irritate your stomach, and you have to start eliminating those wheat products from your routine. Now when it comes to wheat, it's not just wheat. It will be your rava, dalia, broken wheat. It will be rye, barley. It will be any product that is made out of wheat, processed flour as well, maida for that matter. All of these needs to be avoided from your routine to just make sure that your gut gets time to heal and it doesn't create any sort of issues. Now when I tell actually my client that you have to stop gluten because it's the cause of your inflammation, they always come back to me and ask me like, see, if I have stopped gluten, then I ultimately just have dal and vegetables to eat. What will I have my dal and vegetables with? But that's not the case. We just have to go back to basics. I remember that when I was a kid, I hardly used to have gluten. My mom was a really good cook, is a really good cook, and she makes nice jawar and bajra rotis. So millets are like the best substitute that anyone can have if they are not having gluten. We just grew up. It's a very fast-paced life, and we have to be too fast even when it comes to eating food, which we are doing in a wrong way. That's why we moved from millet